Hello, everybody. Scotty Milas here, ScottMilasFranchiseCoach.com. Another episode of All Things Considered Franchising. And boy, do we have a special treat for everybody today. The world is filled with great people who devote their time into helping others. And then there's the people in the U.S., at least, and in the world that devote their time servicing their country. And I have the great privilege, honor, and we kind of connected together just by accident, I guess. It's to have someone here who has been in the Army for 8 years as an Apache helicopter pilot, and that's a big wow for all of us out here. I'd like to welcome Lashae Bacon to the show. Hello, Lashae.
Hello. That was an emotional intro.
Well, first of all, I'm sure most of our listeners or all of our listeners out there are going to say thank you for your service. I mean, that's it's a big commitment. It's a big choice in life, and we just want to say thank you. And and as we always say, wish you and the people you're serving with Godspeed, and as you continue on that journey. And you've been in the Army for 8 years now, correct?
Yes, in July it'll be 8 years. Thank you for your support on all that.
Well, no, we appreciate yours. 8 years in the Army.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, in our conversations over the last, it's got to be 12 months now, you're one of a handful of women that are actually an Apache helicopter pilot. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's not very many of us, and the numbers aren't really growing either. I think at the same time in my unit, there was at max that were actually pilots. There was like 6 or 7 of us out of almost 70 pilots total, just in my unit alone. So the numbers aren't growing, and they've never really been big. So it's going to stay pretty small.
Wow. Well, one of the reasons we wanted to have you on the show, Lashae, is that not only are you a veteran, someone who continues to serve, although you're looking somewhere down the road, maybe possibly exiting, but you're also an entrepreneur. You have your own personal training business. Yes. And then you and I connected, probably it's got to be 8-9 months ago. I think
it's been a while,
you responded to one of the ads running on a certain business opportunity, and we kind of took a left turn. And you invested into the healthy vending machine business. And so now you were diversifying your portfolio and kind of building from there that exit strategy. And I know we always talk about exit strategy here on my show. But talk about your entrepreneurial spirit. How did this all begin? Obviously, you're very health conscious. You believe in eating the right food, staying healthy, exercising, but Army business person, that transition. Talk a little bit about that. It's a big decision. Right. I mean, the Army is a big decision, nevertheless, owning your own business. But how did you put it all together, your mindset, and go from there?
Okay, so like you said a second ago, we did just kind of meet on accident. I was just Googling things, and a couple of years ago, I was like, man, I know I'm not going to renew my contract. So I need to figure out what I do, what are we doing? And so the more I thought about it, throughout my life, I've just gotten more and more involved into fitness. And so I was like, I know that personal training would be something that would help me support myself after I did get out, but also something that I think I'd be interested in. So I went ahead and got my personal training certificate. I started out going through a course at Body Design University out of Atlanta. They are a school that goes way more in depth into the actual teachings of being a personal trainer and everything that goes along with that. They're not nationally accredited like ACE or NASM are, but I use them kind of as a segue to get that because like you in franchising, they have those links to those nationally accredited associations where if you go through their course, you'll get way more in-depth knowledge and like one-on-one experience with an actual instructor. And then they also offer a discount in getting that nationally accredited certification
Okay,
afterwards.
great. Great.
So I have my personal training certificate through both Body Design University and the American Council on Exercise. And now I'm currently working on getting my fitness nutrition certificate through ACE as well. So I started there and I was like, man, what do I want to do with this afterwards? I don't want to just be a personal trainer. And so I was like, I want to open a gym. Like, I want to open my own gym. The everywhere is already like littered. And I
Right.
have been already told about that. People were like warned me essentially like, oh, well, that's not going to be successful because there's already so many of them. And then like, but my original idea, I was like, but this isn't something that somebody else already has. So that idea just kept growing and growing. I was like, all right, I can't just go from getting out of the army, being certified as a personal trainer and opening a gym. It's not going to work out for me.
Right.
So I need to have something that is going to offer a semblance of passive income for me that's not going to be a lot of effort or require a lot of attention. And before you and I thought about that together, I came to you. I happened upon like a landing page of yours as I was Googling
Right.
things.
Yep.
And I was like, I never put my information in these things, but let me see what happens. I was like, insurance. I'd worked with an insurance broker before, and that was a great experience. So my franchise broker, that sounds equally as great. Let me just try
Well,
this out.
thank you. That's
And it
great.
did. It worked out great. It was super easy working with you from the very beginning. I was like, man, all I had to do was tell this guy my information, what I was interested in, and he's hitting the road for me. Like, he's got this.
So
So
let's
great
talk
experience.
about
Yeah,
that journey for a second, because that's
yeah.
interesting. Because and again, I talk to a lot of people, not a lot of people, but there are people like you that I talk to every day. And did you find, as you started this journey of being an entrepreneur, even starting your personal training business, that it was kind of a little bit of overwhelming process for you? There was a lot to consider, and it wasn't like you woke up in the morning and right next to you was this checklist of things that I needed to start my own business. I mean, was it kind of that overwhelming at first?
It was, because I literally had no idea. I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what kind of things to be looking for. I had no idea where to start. So in speaking with you, I think originally I had said, yeah, I think I'm interested in maybe starting a small franchise gym so that I can move into opening my own gym facility that's gonna be bigger. So I'm just gonna use this to help me set up for that.
Right. That's right.
It's kind of where we started. Quickly come to find out that I did not have anywhere near the capital that I needed to start something like that. And so we were like, you need to scale down a little bit. And which was totally fine for me because, again, I've never been in business before. And just starting out with all of this being so brand new, the scaling down was going to be really important for me. And it is still definitely super important for me. I'm still not very deep into my Health by Bacon healthy vending. I don't have my machines out yet, but hopefully in the next couple of months they will be. So that's going to be a really good segue for me anyways, because as we talked about just before we started recording, my sister, I brought her in to be part of it.
Okay.
So that's going to save me a lot of time and effort in my transition out of the Army, moving, and then getting everything else set up. So
That's great. That's great.
Definitely starting smaller than what you think you need to be in the beginning, because as we quickly found out together, I couldn't even start. Like financially, it was almost impossible for me to start where I wanted to, and that's
Right.
okay.
Right. Yeah. But in our early stages conversations, I said that, I think that we both agreed that you were not going to get upset on the things that you couldn't do, but focus your attention on the things that you could do.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads me to your process and how you kind of put everything together, because people come in with bigger goals or dreams, and then really are taken, are kind of given a reality check, I guess, on what they really can do. So as you look at the way you went into this process, I mean, obviously you had bigger goals, and I think you still have those goals, and
I do.
I would encourage you to keep those goals and dreams.
They are well on their way. Don't worry.
So, but as you go just to kind of steer some people and help some people out who are maybe thinking about business ownership, is it fair to say to have the smaller conversations first rather than the bigger conversations, kind of like really get a handle on the financing side, the financial side?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of get yourself situated on where you can go financially, what you'll be able to qualify for if you're looking for funding, and then go from there and find the opportunities that kind of fit that model. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think something, I know you probably talked about this before, and a lot of people bring this up, is building teams. And I had heard about like the importance of doing all this throughout my life, like throughout college, throughout the military, and then other podcasts I was listening to, because I started listening to entrepreneurial podcasts, and just building really good teams and building teams of people who are stronger in expertise in areas that you are not that expert in. So I'm a big fan of not wasting too much of my time trying to figure something out that I don't want to be an expert in. So why not go spend some time talking, reaching out to those people who are, because you're going to get places so much faster than trying to figure it out yourself, or if you have too much pride and not asking for help. Because after speaking with you and where we ended up, I was like, man, that was really great. Like that was super easy. Awesome.
Right.
Let me just go find this other person because I have these questions about this topic, and that's what they're an expert in. Let me just go talk to them. Oh, got my answers. Okay, so now I get to move on again.
That's great. That's great.
It's like playing a board game almost. Everything. I mean, business is kind of a game. And
well, you come out of the military, and in the military, in a sense, there is a process to what you do. I mean, that's why veterans like yourself do very, very well in business ownership, especially in franchising, because you know how to follow a process.
Yeah.
You know, we have a philosophy here over in my company that, you know, there are two types of entrepreneurs. There is the visionary. A lot of what you had coming in, that vision, I want a specific type of health and fitness studio. I have vision of healthy, options, and, that visionary that wants to put all the pieces to the puzzle together, the menu, the operations. And then you realize, wow, there's a lot to do. And then I got to go out and run the business and create revenue. And then there are people like yourself now, I think, realized after going through the process in our discussions that franchising, whether it's a license agreement or like what you did, that the support is there to help you just implement and delegate the systems that are already there. You're not reinventing the wheel. Is that a fair assessment?
Exactly. Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of delegating. I'm a big fan of not reinventing things. Like the wheel already exists, so we don't need a brand new wheel. Maybe we need one that works better for what you're trying to do, but you don't need a brand new wheel. So I am a big fan of that statement. Yeah.
If reaching out to our audience, if there are veterans there now, we're reaching out to some veterans, people that are for the first time thinking about entrepreneurship, business ownership, whether it's a franchise or their own. Obviously, you started out as a personal trainer. What words of wisdom or what encouragement can you give someone or pass on to people about business ownership, whether, like I said, whether it's a franchise, an independent? What would your advice be or guidance be to get started in the process? What should be their first step? Is the first step, yes, make up your mind that this is what you want to do, or is it just go out and learn. Because I encourage people that you have to put yourself in a position to want to learn before you can make a decision. I mean, what advice can you pass on to those first timers that are really thinking about business ownership?
I would say don't get discouraged whenever something isn't going in the timeline that you want it to. If there's something that you really want to do, then you can do it. There may be some obstacles that you have to go through, but nothing is stopping you. Like, you will be the only person that stops you from doing something. So if something comes up in your personal life, if something comes up down your path of business, then just figure out how to fix it. Like,
Okay.
I found this quote that says, why worry about things that you can't control, and why worry about things that you can? So if you're stuck, just figure it out. Take a breath, ask the people around you, seek out other people. And that's something that I did with you. Even after we found the Naturals to Go vending, I still came back with you to you like
You
months
did. Yep.
later with a couple of questions. And so just keep those people around that have your answers, because you never know what kind of question you're going to have bring up. So throughout your persistence and throughout your journey, just like you said, learn and just figure out your problems, figure out those solutions, because that's going to be what brings you along the furthest, is just not giving up. Because you're
Yep.
going to be the only one that gives up on you. And if there's people that do end up giving up on you, then maybe they're not meant to be in your journey.
That's a
And then
great
just,
point. That's
yeah,
great.
then
That's
just
great
keep
advice.
those people around who are going to be helpful to you, who benefit you.
Do you feel, and again, and I don't want to put you on the spot here, but you chose the path of a franchise organization, a license agreement, set up like a franchising with the support mechanisms there. And you did some research and spoken to some other franchises and kind of dug in. Do you feel that those people that may have some I don't like to use the word issues, but are really looking for the assistance and guidance, whether it's once a week, twice a week, or know it's there, that a franchise may be a better option than trying to go out and reinvent the wheel and put all those processes and systems together for themselves? Just in your experiences, because you're an independent as well. I mean, so you're kind of looking at from both ends of the telescope, so to speak.
Right.
So,
yeah, I will say it has been a lot more work trying to building up my own business than it was getting into the smaller version of a franchise that I went with. My franchise still isn't up and running, like I said. And that's one of the things that has taken a little bit longer than what I anticipated it taking. Some things that when I did talk to those other the franchisees and the franchisors, just a couple, like some things that happened to them, like the amount of time it's taken for me to get the locations established for my machines so that I can get them out there. A lot of the other owners, it took a lot of them a long time as well, which is not something that I thought about bringing up, but it's also something that they never offered up either. So it's
right.
like,
It's the validation stage. Again, we talked about like that. It's, you can look at all the financial documents in an FDD, the item 19, but the true validation is really trying to connect to existing franchisees that kind of may have your background. Somebody who is early in business ownership. This is, kind of growing, diversifying. And then the experienced franchisee, someone who's been successful or somebody who's maybe even struggling. So the validation, to your point, is probably the critical part in a journey while you're looking at all this, correct?
And that's definitely what I did. Whenever you told me to do that, I spoke to like half a dozen people, half a dozen owners that were already out there. in and out of the area that I want to put my vending machines in. And I heard great things from everyone about the actual business itself, and like owning a vending machine, and just the day-to-day operations of doing that. And I was like, that sounds great. Like, yeah, this is exactly what I was needing from my transition from the military out and doing my own business. Just because of like the lower cost, the lower overhead, the lower amount of time that's requires to maintain these things. And then the support that the company itself offers. Because a lot of people, for the vending machines anyways, a lot of people think of like franchises. And like I was the same way when I came to you. I was like, a franchise is going to be a big business, you know, it's all these name brands that you see everywhere that you can like purchase into, and then you own that building and stuff, kind of basically. I quickly found out that was not the case always. So
You are absolutely right. My friend Emily over at Brand One puts it best. She says, there's a lot more to franchising than the golden arches and the $5 foot
yes,
long. And people don't
yes,
realize that. And it's a powerful way for people to consider to get into business. And you can,
yes.
you know, and to circle back to how we started out in this conversation, you have a lot of big dreams and a lot of goals
Hmm.
that you're working on. Do you see what you've learned in this experience now with your own independent, now a franchising, growing and diversifying into other businesses? I mean, is this what you're looking to do as you get one set up, grow it, stop
Hmm.
when you're done with that one, and then move on to the next one?
So I think what I'm going to do is just kind of transition my vending into my future business. And then if it just becomes either too much or just I just don't need it anymore, then I'll sell it, I'll pass it off, I'll do something with it. But at this point in time, I do plan on like carrying it with me, just transitioning it,
Okay, great.
pretty much as long as I can. And I'm gonna keep using it because it's not gonna require a ton of time for me. It's like I'm gonna manage everything digitally on my phone, as we talked about earlier. So my sister is going to stock the machines for me and do any maintenance that needs to be done. I'm gonna run everything else through just my phone because
That's amazing. I mean,
isn't
you
it?
know, so let's touch on that because this
Yeah,
is something that you and I had gone through in our initial
yeah.
consultation steps about. And I think one of the first questions I asked you after we kind of, you know, had an initial conversation was, how much time do you have to devote to a business? And we really started to break out your
Right,
thought process. So we really narrowed it down to that while a brick and mortar location would be awesome for you, let's
exactly.
forget the financial picture for a second,
Yeah,
that in reality, that if you were going to go in that direction of brick and mortar, you would have to go out and hire somebody to run the business. Now you had your sister, but
yep,
still your sister has to earn an income too. So that would take away from, you know, basically what you wanted to do or your
exactly.
financial goals. So when we started looking at semi-absentee or this passive type business technology, that iPhone, iPad, smartphone type business, you kind of were scratching your head a little bit, right? I mean,
I
there's
was, yeah, absolutely. Because even starting out in this, you're like, well, are you gonna have time for this? How are you gonna be able to do this? Like, what kind of timeline do you see? I'm like, man, well, I was really wanting something that I could start before I got out, so I could already have it set up and going during my transition phase. And so I was like, that's when I ran into a problem. I was like, all right, let me think about a solution to this. How can I create a kind of unique situation that I have right now and make it work? So I called like three of my friends. I was like, hey, would you have time? Like, would you have like 5 hours a week to go machines for me if I paid you? And they were like, I don't want to do that. I was like, I'm gonna pay you. It'll be it'll be at your place of work, or like it's gonna be like on your route to work, whatever. It's not gonna be super inconvenient. You'll get more money. They're like, I don't want to do that, Shay. I'm like, okay. My sister.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, I think the point here for our audience to be really listening to is that regardless of whether it's an independent business or a franchise,
Yeah,
there are still moving parts. I mean, there are
100%.
marks to start a business, and you had a lot of roadblocks as far
Yeah.
as time, you know,
Flexibility. Yeah.
what's the flexibility. So this type of business, but knowing that the support was there and
Yeah.
really only needing your sister, and again, minimal hours a week to get the business
Yep.
rolling, it kind of fit into everything, and kind of that
It did.
consultative process,
Yeah,
learning what you wanted and kind of putting it
exactly.
together, and then kind of finding the brand that fit. And I
Exactly.
think it's safe to say, Lashae, that it's okay for someone like yourself or anyone to really start off on a smaller side and then grow big
Absolutely.
versus starting big and just running into even more roadblocks. Is that
I
fair?
can
I mean,
say
because I
if I
talk a
tried
lot
to go
about that with my
bigger,
clients.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I tried to go bigger right like then when we first started talking and you like if you just let me, I would not have um even gotten as far as I am now with my business that I am trying to open whenever I do get to Florida. So I thank you for that. Reeling me back in a little bit. Um, because yeah, I would not be as far as I am if I tried to start bigger sooner. And so learning that at the very beginning, which is very fortunate for me, and then learning the different aspects of reaching out to others for answers, communicating with people, asking the questions, keeping contacts, networking. I have learned all of that just from starting a vending machine business that has immensely helped me in starting my gym because I'm so much further now in that process than I ever thought I would have been at this point.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you've, I think one of the things that you've done by going through this process with me and, eventually landing on the vending machine business, Naturals to Go, is that you probably have a better sense of what questions to ask and
yeah,
really kind of what to look
also
for.
that. Yeah, for sure.
It's a kind of a safety net starting off small and then going
Mm.
bigger. So, well, that's great. Lashae, you have your business. It's up and coming. Is anybody in the areas that you're interested? Is there anybody that you want them to reach out to you in regards to your vending machine, putting them in? I mean, is there a way you want somebody to get a hold of you, or would you rather wait until it's really fully up and running before we ask people to be able to get a hold of you? I'll leave that up to you. I
Yeah, no,
mean,
I'm actively looking for locations now. So the area that I'm putting them all in is the Oklahoma City area. And any businesses that need a vending machine that can be completely catered to you and your business, you will work with me directly or with my sister directly. You'll have direct lines of contact to us. And any issues arise, it'll be that easy to contact somebody and just let them know that there's an issue and to stock any of the snacks, anything like that that you guys want. That's what we're there for.
and I
So
think,
see.
and just to make a plug on your business versus a standardized vending machine business,
Yeah.
you have a lot of flexibility on what
Oh
your
yeah.
clients can put in the machine. I mean, this isn't Snickers and M&Ms. I mean,
Right.
and again,
But
your
I could put
focus
those in
is
there if you
health.
want them.
Right. But what I'm saying is that there are a lot of healthy options, things that may lead more to what the office or the location
Exactly.
really needs versus what the
Exactly.
standardized items are. Is
Exactly.
that's it? Great.
Percent.
Well, we'll let people know that you could reach Lashae. We'll have your name and everything.
Yep.
Your name's going to be up on the in a font there, and you can reach out to the you by on LinkedIn. Send a message if you want some more information about her vending services.
Yep.
But this has been a great. It's so wonderful to listen to about your journey. I know I hope you remain in contact and reach out if you have any questions. I mean, that's what we do here at ScottMilasFranchiseCoach.com. We'd like to, kind of stay in contact and always hear more about your journey.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
any closing thoughts about anything else you want to share? Anything that comes to mind? I mean, before we close out here.
I say that if you have questions, just ask them. Don't try to mull it over in your own head, trying to figure it out, spending hours on Google where you might eventually get some kind of an answer. Go talk to mentors like yourself. For.org also is a volunteer-based mentor platform that you don't pay for. It's run by the Small Business Administration. And just find those mentors that you need. And I will definitely be keeping in contact with you, Scotty, because who knows, like,
Well,
you're
thank
like,
you.
hey, we're gonna franchise that gym, you just let me know.
No, we actually help people franchise their business. I mean, that's definitely a process. But this has been great, Lashae. And again, you can reach out to Lashae over on LinkedIn and send her a message. She'll get back to you. Keep in mind that she is servicing the country still, so it may not be a direct, immediate response, but I'm sure either herself or her sister will get back to you. So this has been great, Lashae. Thanks again, and again, thank you again for serving. We wish you Godspeed and safety out there. It's a crazy world we live in right now, so we won't go down that path. But this has been Scotty Milas, All Things Considered Franchising, Scott Milas, franchisecoach.com. You can reach me at scott@scottmilasfranchisecoach.com or 860-751-9126 is a direct line number. I believe it or not, I still use the phone. I still talk to people.
I think you gave me like 2 or 3 phone numbers to contact.
Yes. Yep. And again, we've been talking to Lashae Bacon, owner of Help. Health by Bacon. And personal training business. So you're in her areas and you're looking for some personal training. I mean, definitely someone you should reach out to. So this is Scotty Milas signing off for this episode of All Things Considered Franchising.